Behind every one of my records is a story. This is just one of them. All right, then, check it out. Another video, and this one is Steel Pulse, the Earth Crisis album. Now, you know, I'm not like the biggest reggae fan, and by that, I don't mean that it's not because I don't like it. It's just because I don't know. I haven't been exposed to that much. I mean, I've been exposed to enough to know what's cool, but I haven't done a deep dive into reggae music. I kind of take it as it comes. But I know enough about the foundation to know what bullshit reggae is. All right. But anyway, so this one right here, let's check it out. Click Earth Crisis album by Steel Pulse. All right. A friend of mine turned me on to this group. And I grew up in Santa Cruz, California, pretty much a surfing town with a lot of heavy reggae roots in that town, from the 70s, 80s. And so it was just a matter of time before I got turned on to some legit reggae, from just friends of mine. And so back when I was kind of like digging into hip hop, other friends of mine, they were like doing other things and listening to a lot of reggae music. And eventually it came my way. And I was like, all right, lay it on me. So yeah, I checked it out and yeah, man, it was cool. It was like, it was kind of deep. You can tell when music is just kind of like superficial, just, kind of just, not serious, just kind of there. But this was like, the musicianship, the attitude with the vocals, like just the subject matter. I mean, this was like some serious music, man. And so, I got into it and I'm like, yeah, man, this is super cool. It's a nice change from like, you're listening to like hardcore hip hop and, heavy metal and thrash and, some punk, but then like, reggae is just kind of like it's a good break from that, just to, just to rest your mind and just to come, over to the other side for a bit and take a break, relax. Uh, Reggae music strikes me as, yeah, it's serious. Some of the subject matter, like civil rights and talk, political and stuff, but not all the time. There are a lot of reggae tracks that are just, just about being mellow, representing the herb and all that, and just, humanity, coming together and that kind of thing, which is cool, man, because like I said, dude, I mean, some of the music that we listen to, maybe it's like, it takes your mind somewhere else, or you don't really think about, these kind of things. But, a lot of reggae music, that has a message, it's like, it's the perfect format to digest it. It's kind of slow tempo, kind of heavy, melodic, just easy to consume and just listen to what's being said and, the melody and everything. Anyway, man. So I guess, I mean, dude, this album cover is pretty heavy, dude. Like, that's one thing, man. Like, when it comes to album covers, I mean, there's a lot of like heavy metal, uh, thrash, just hardcore rock that has like album covers that are just insane, dude. I mean, punk albums too. I mean, just real explicit album covers, uncensored, man. And this is no exception, man. I mean, check this out, dude. You got Ronald Reagan behind the American flag there. You got the Pope, which, supposed to represent religion, but religion is controversial, and the dude next to him, I think that's it's not Gorbachev, dude. I think it's another Russian leader. Not sure, dude. Like I said, I don't do any research for these videos, even if some of the subject matter should be like obvious. And you got the police, in the riot gear with the shields. Got got the I think it's the Ethiopian famine. Images of kids who are starving, and of course you got the disturbing images of the bombing, the nuclear bombing. With the Asian kids running from the explosion. It's just terrible, man. Terrible stuff, dude. And it's like it's such a powerful cover, you know. And it's like I said, dude, reggae can be like just this super peaceful, mellow, melodic, just chill music. And it can also be this super heavy political message that's just, being presented in this like very like down to earth, sobering, you know, tone that's just like, wow, dude, it's just heavy duty, man, So anyway, so this was one of the first groups that I, got to know, in reggae music. I mean, there's the obvious, everyone kind of knows Bob Marley, so if you like say, oh yeah, hey, you listen to reggae? Oh yeah, I listen to Bob Marley. It kind of doesn't count, even though Bob Marley is super dope and a true representation of reggae music. He's just so big. It's just not you gotta say more than that to justify your interest in reggae music, But even still, myself, I still never really took off into reggae music, and like I said, it has nothing to do with my appreciation for it at all. It's just I've kind of got into some like compilations of like roots reggae, like stuff from like the mid 70s, which is real like, the recording quality sounds real down to earth, like home studio, just, sitting in the living room recording kind of reggae, and yeah, a lot of stony reggae too, which, there's a lot of classics out there, I guess, mostly it's like compilations, what I have in my collection. I guess I have some compilations, but in terms of like, reggae influenced music, most of what I have is pretty much like, I guess, like dance hall, and even some of the dance hall chatting over the hip hop beats from the 90s, but you know what? Reggae music just as a vibe, it's just so legit to just listen to some reggae, like legit reggae. I mean, dude, there's this candy reggae out there too, which is like, Club Med vacation spot reggae music, which is just so cheeseball, it's just like, I think reggae has to be a little mystic. It can't just be like super clean vacation, tropical weather, wearing shorts, swimming pool reggae. I mean, that's just gross. But like, there has to be some kind of like, you know, it's got to be kind of, you know, kind of deep. You know, reggae's got to be just like it's almost like the beginning of a meditative kind of groove. Which under the right influences, can be a very pleasant experience. And it has its place, dude. It's no wonder in Santa Cruz, a lot of these surfers are listening to reggae, uh, because being out there in the ocean with the nature and the nice weather and all that stuff, it's fitting to like chill out to some reggae, you know, maybe burn one or something, right? And just chill, man. You know, Cali, California, man. It's kind of one of the reasons why a lot of people, want to hang out there is because it's got this vibe, And so anyway, the song on here uh, that I know the most is "Stepping Out," and that's like the first track I think on side A, and man, it's just such the production on this is dope. One thing I didn't know, which I kind of found out once I started to listen to more reggae back then, was a lot of artists are from England. I didn't realize it that there was such a heavy Jamaican presence in England. I mean, there's been little hints in different groups, and uh, because like I said, this is like back in the days, no internet. There's no way to know what's going on in the world like today. Like today, you can find out what's going on anywhere, pretty much. Anyone who has a phone can give you a video which gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on wherever they're from, dude. Uncensored videos too, man. So yeah, I just wasn't just didn't realize, how big of a reggae scene there was in England until I started to check out more artists, and I was like, it makes sense though, dude. I mean, the Caribbean it's right there, dude. It's not that far from England, you know. So anyway, man, just yeah, stepping out. That song is just the production is so fat, and it's kind of like it reminds me of like Bob Marley again. There's a lot of stuff with Bob Marley, like recordings from like the '60s, early '70s, where man, it sounds so rootsy, like just total roots reggae, man, stripped down, just so deep. And turns out, when reggae became a thing, where it was getting popular, and artists started to record or get record deals from American and English record labels, then they started to, in the studio, they started to add different elements, in the music to make it more like, give it more of a pop feel to it, And I didn't realize any of this stuff until, later when, like I said, the internet allowed people to do research and find out more about, what's going on behind the scenes and in music and stuff, and with different albums and artists. And but I guess it worked because this Steel Pulse album, the production, it's so fat and so it could be played against any pop song from because this album came out in 1984. So any other pop song in 1984 that was a hit, uh, it could be played right next to that, and it would still have that same production like quality, where everything was loud, clear, fat, just a well-rounded production. And but it would also be cool if there was a steel pulse recordings where it was just them, maybe in an underground studio in England, or maybe even in Jamaica somewhere, just recording in a studio where there's just like pillows and carpets and everyone's just chilling, and just this roots kind of like recording of sounding like it's just lo-fi but just deep roots. Anyway, man, so yeah, Steel Pulse, I got this at Tower Records, and there's two labels on there on the corner. Let me try to show them to you here. So got $7.99, and then there's one that just has 16 on it. So I suspect that this record was on sale for $7.99. That's how much they were selling it for, and maybe I don't remember when I got this record. Obviously, I didn't get it when it was new in '84, but I probably got it in like '88 or something. So the other label, that the sticker that's on there that just has a number on there, 16. I think they were probably selling this like as a used record, or like a record that they were just trying to get rid of. Like maybe this was in a section where everything in that section was like $2 or something, $3. But anyway, I remember when I saw it, I was like, dude, Steel Pulse, stepping out. That's my jam. I gotta get it. And I got it. And it's cool. And even though, like I said, my collection isn't filled with reggae records, I have a few that are high quality, that are like, significant records that are like a good representation of roots reggae, some ska, and even some of the later recordings in the 80s of this kind of high production level reggae that is still legit, because the artists are just so pure. No studio can ruin that flavor, even if they tried. So anyway, there you go, man. Steel Pulse. It's a classic record, man. Check it out if you haven't heard it. All right, man. That was that. If you have a comment you want to leave, go for that. What else is there? You want to like the video? You can do that, and even subscribe. That would also be cool. Until next video, I'll catch you later. Peace and vinyl.